Hi everyone, Catherine here from Inky Finger Cats, back with Christmas in July, day 30, and we have a sketch. So editor Catherine, remember to put it up here so you can all see what sketch I'm working to. I've got a printed version here, so we're looking at like a grid background with some elements going up and a sentiment across the middle. That's the general consensus of where we're at. I have grabbed some waffle flower products. Poinsettia waffle, but completely different era. So original waffle flower, like with the yellow backgrounds, that stamp and die set, and I've also got the background stencil, which is like a layered stencil. It's only 2 layers, I think. 2 or 3? 2 layers. So I don't know what we're going to end up creating. We shall see. For those that don't know, I'm on day 30 of this, so you should know by now, but you might well have only just stumbled across my video. Christmas in July is where I do a Christmas-based project. I film it and I release a video every day of July. And although I do film a little ahead of schedule, so this is actually last Friday. I'm just thinking, what day has it been? It's been a very long day in work. But yeah, this is actually last Friday from when this video will get released. So I'm filming a little ahead of schedule, but obviously I'm at day 30. I'm absolutely confident I will be able to get one more video done in the next week. And there we go. We will have achieved Christmas in July. I did this last year and I did it the year before. So there are 2 other playlists that are complete. And this one is obviously very close to being complete if you look on my channel. I would love it if people subscribe. What's really important now is subscribing and hitting notification bells, because post-July there will not be a video every day. So it won't be as easy to spot me in your feed. But hopefully people will still want to join along when I'm not just doing Christmas in July madness. I do scrapbooking, I do technique-y type things, I have general chats with you all sorts of different videos. There's a whole load of stuff that you can go and look to see what my content looks like if you're interested in looking back. But there will be more to come, just won't be daily because that's a bit too much to maintain for a whole year. So that all being said, time to decide what I'm doing with these poinsettia based things and how I'm going to use them to make my sketch come to life. Let's get crafting. So I decided to start with the stencil, and I had the idea already that I would cut this apart and that would create my grid. I would say with hindsight I would cut it down more than I did, but you know, it still works. So I also decided I would go with purple and teal-ish colours of the green. Yeah, rather than red and sort of the traditional colour of a poinsettia, which would be red or a creamy white. And it would probably be more of a darker green. But I decided to go with this sort of like, which I think it's rich raspberry. Yeah, I'm fairly confident I used rich raspberry for the purple. And then for the next layer, I used Bermuda Bay, but I used an ink blending brush that had got some darker green on it. So it's a tealy colour, but it changes halfway down the stenciling. So then I do go and grab another colour of ink in order to sort of make it mixed up a little bit. But you can see there the top bit now, which is actually the bottom, is definitely a different colour to the top part. Yeah, it changes. So I do the whole layer with the Bermuda Bay, and then I go and get Parakeet Party, which is one of my favourite lime greens, and go over with that in a few spots, and it just basically changes it up. Now, I know that was in fast forward. I do all of my videos in fast forward pretty much, but what I was trying to do was apply some different, what's the best way to describe it? Different intensity of ink in different parts of it. So there was some colour variation. Now, I had the idea of maybe doing a colour print from these stencils because there was quite a lot of ink on them. The pink worked out well, the green not so much. So they'll be for a future project. I actually cut into the green one because I know it's not going to work, and that's what I use as the end, as part of my die cut. But yeah, I have popped the other one just to one side, and I might well use it fairly soon. I might not use it for ages. Who knows? What I tend to do when I create those sorts of backgrounds is I chop them into sort of the front of a card size, and then I'll put them in a pouch, and then I'll come and use them at a later point. So I decided my actual size of my squares was going to be 1 3/4 inch wide. But I think I should have gone for 1.5 and given them more of a border, because you can see the grid, but it's not a prominent grid. It's not as prominent as it was on the sketch, but I still think it looks nice, so I'm quite happy. I create my card base out of that sort of like purpley winey red. I don't really know what colour that is, and it was one that had been in a folder earlier in the week and I had not ended up using it. So I just grabbed it and thought, well, it'll go with that purpley colour. It's fine. I don't think I've got any Rich Razzleberry cardstock left, which is very sad because it's one of my favourite Stampin' Up! Colours, and I think it's a retired colour now. They need to bring that back. Okay, so you'll see here I chopped it all apart. I've not put it back together so that it looks like it was together. I've purposely kept them as 4 separate tiles, but there isn't much room between the grids. So I will say, learn from my slight faux pas. I still like it, it's not a problem, but yeah, I need to do something different. Okay, so on to my stamp poinsettia. Now, I have, sitting in the pouch with my little stamp and die set, is a ready die cut panel that is just the negative. The reason being is that these layering stamps are quite challenging to line up unless you have the die cut underneath them already. And so the best way to do it is to line them up onto a die cut. And the best way of doing multiples, although I do only do one in this particular instance, is to just keep replacing the die cut into the panel. So that's how I do it. I'm hoping that makes sense. If not, I think there is a Technique Time video which shows you me doing this with sentiments. It's the same idea. You die cut a whole load, you die cut a template, you put your stamps into the template, and then you just keep replacing the die cut. I'm hoping that all makes sense. Okay, I am now on to my next layers of the die cut. The original layer of the petals, I did use my blending tool just to take a little ink off, so it stamped a little lighter. Then the central part of the flower, I've gone in quite heavy and made sure that that's a full coating of the ink. And that's how I've created sort of like 2 tones. My leaves obviously are very weirdly coloured, but I've just gone over the top of the Bermuda Bay with the Parakeet Party, and that's created an ink colour that's similar to the way it was on the blending of the background. I have to say, using your stamp wheel or a stamp platform for that is essential. You have to have that. I wouldn't be without mine. It's funny, I had a conversation with someone the other day about how expensive the stamp wheel is. I still think it's really expensive, but I do love it. So, yeah, difficult to say it's not good when it is, and it does a really good job. I struggled a little bit there with my die cutting machine. Right, now for the circle elements of the design, I decided to cut 2 out of that coordinating colour, and then I am cutting the other 3 out of the vellum, and I've just mixed up the sizes. I think the sketch called for 3 different sizes, but I just went with the 2 on this particular occasion. I think it's fine because they're overlapping and there's going to be a focal element over the top of them. It's fine. I just felt that I needed this. I think originally in my head, I was thinking that the flower itself would be the circles. Does that make sense? Like, as in the trailing flower might work in place of the circles, but I needed that bit of separation between the busy background and the floral elements. Oh, get my teeth in. And so instead I went with the circles being cut from the mix of the solid and the vellum. And now I'm on to my sentiment. The sentiment is one that was already done. I had stamped, die cut and stacked it already. I've just added it to a banner that I created using my punch. And then I am just sticking those down, and I'm just using the Kingston tape runner, and where the vellum is, I've just put a light touch of that tape because I'm going to stick the floral element over the top of it, and that's just going to be the easiest way of doing that. I did decide my flower, I wanted to stack it a little bit more, so I've cut another shape out, and I'm just adding some dots of glue underneath, and then I'm going to stack those two together just to strengthen them, bring them up a little bit. And now I'm going to glue that in place, and this will have the dual effect of gluing this down, but it will also glue in place those vellum pieces a little bit stronger than just the tiny touch of adhesive that they had, just because you've got them then adhering to a whole section. I did add some foam underneath my little sentiment banner just because it was going to go over the top of that stacked up flower, and that is pretty much the front of my card done. I do add some gems at the end. But now I'm going to just work on the inside, and this is dead simple. I've just cut myself a piece of cardstock. I'm going to glue that down. I don't think I glue it down particularly straight, but you know what? It's fine. It's a handmade card. And then these just offcuts. I was going to add all three, but I decided just to add the two because I thought it looked nice. And that's pretty much it done. As I say, I'm just going to add in these gems. Adding these sort of like pinky purple gems. They just work well. And I had quite a few on. I'm a bit generous today. I think it was 5 in total rather than my usual 3. But I love it. Don't you think that's the cutest thing? I mean, it's just so pretty. I love that I went with a slightly different colour scheme than the traditional red. I think it looks a bit different. A bit regal looking, I think is the right word. And I hope you've enjoyed it too. Please do leave me a comment down below if you did. Leave me a thumbs up. It helps me know that you enjoyed it. And subscribe to see future videos. Till next time. Bye-bye.